At times, a plugin may require reconfiguring, such as when an error is found during the verification process or something changes in the environment. In this video, we will reconfigure an existing instance of a plugin using the DX Virtual Network Assurance API and the DX NetOps Portal. To start, we'll first use the DX Virtual Network Assurance API. The process of reconfiguring an existing instance of a plugin using the API requires completing the plugin template again, then using a put call to put the template to the VNA server, updating the current plugin configurations. To reconfigure a plugin using the VNA API, the following information is required: the plugin name, the config ID for the existing plugin, the original plugin template that has not been updated, and the current plugin settings for the existing plugin instance. In this demonstration, we will reconfigure an existing Viptela plugin configuration. This Viptela instance is already running and collecting data, and for the sake of example, we'll update the username and password used to access the virtual network. To get started, before we gather all this information, we'll open two text files and save one as the original configuration template and the other as the existing configuration so we know which file is which. We'll use these text files to copy and paste information as we update the template. Now that we have the text files ready, we can call the Viptela plugin template from the server. We'll navigate to the VNA API for the VNA server where the plugin is enabled. Then to call the Viptela plugin template, we need the plugin name. So we'll expand the admin header and expand the call get v1 admin plugins, which provides a list of the plugins that are installed on the server. Then click the execute button. In the response body, in the plugin name field, we can find the Viptela plugin and copy the name of the plugin. This name will be used in the next REST call, which we will use to get the plugin template. Next, we need to get the Viptela plugin template. We'll expand get v1 admin plugins plugin name template, and in the plugin name field, we'll paste the plugin name we just copied, and then click the execute button. In the response body field, the plugin template displays with the configuration parameters and placeholders for the parameter values. In the response body field, we'll click the copy button to copy the entire response body text. Then paste the template into the configuration template text file. Now that we have the Viptela configuration template, we need the configuration ID and the current configuration settings for the existing instance of the plugin. We can get this information by expanding the get call, get v1 admin engines configs, and clicking the execute button. This call lists the plugin name, plugin config ID, and the current configuration settings for each plugin enabled on the server. In the response body field, we'll locate the Viptela plugin that needs reconfigured, copy the information for the plugin, and paste it into the current configuration text file. Next, in the current configuration text file, we will update the username and password parameters. From here, in order to update the existing instance of the Viptela plugin, we have to fill out the Viptela template again as though we were configuring the plugin for the first time. To do this, we will copy and paste the values from the current configuration into the template. And notice, the configuration from the existing instance has more fields in it than the template does. Those fields can be skipped when updating the template. Also, when the configuration is called from the server, passwords are hidden with asterisks. Be sure to delete the asterisks and re-enter those passwords. Once the values have been copied and pasted over in the text file, to update the plugin, we will need three pieces of information: the plugin name, the config ID, and the configuration. To get the plugin name, in the text file with the current configuration, in the plugin name field, copy the plugin name, not including the quotes. Then returning to the VNA API, under the admin header, expand put v1 admin plugins plugin name. In the plugin name field, paste the plugin name from the plugin name property in the text editor. Next, we need the config ID. Returning to the text file with the current configuration, from the config ID field, we'll copy the config ID and in the VNA API, in the config ID field, paste the ID. In the engine config field, we will enter the updated configuration. So we'll switch over to the text file with the template we updated, copy the configuration, return to the VNA API, and paste the configuration in the engine config field. And with all the information entered, we can click the Execute button, and the plugin is now reconfigured. And after reconfiguring a plugin, be sure to run through the verification process to make sure the update was successful. Now let's take a look at updating a plugin using the DX NetOps Portal. In the DX NetOps Portal, we'll navigate to Administration, Monitored Items Management, VNA Gateways. Then under Monitoring Configuration, click VNA Plugin Administration. On the VNA Plugin Administration page, we'll select the VNA gateway hosting the plugin, which is already selected, then select the plugin and click the Edit button. This calls the current plugin configuration from the VNA server. From here, we don't need to use the original template to update the configuration like we did with the VNA API. We can simply make the changes in the Configure VNA plugin window. And once again, if there are any masked passwords, re-enter the passwords. And then, when the changes are made, click the Save button. This puts the updated configuration to the VNA server and updates the plugin. And once again, after updating the plugin, be sure to run through the verification process to verify the update was successful.